Okay guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to make a basic step counter or step progression indicator, whatever you want to call it. So let's get into it. So if I refresh this little page here, you'll see that this little animation that I made for just kind of illustrating how somebody goes through a progression can, all it really is helping us with is to understand how far in a sequence or a wizard or something of that nature we've actually come. And in order to animate this or to build it, it's fairly straightforward, hopefully. So we start by creating this little div class here, which we call steps. And all we do is that we say that, okay, this is going to be a flex, display flex. So we have a flex box basically wrapping all of our elements. And then we say that, okay, the color inside is going to be white, the text alignment is going to be center, align items is going to be center, and the space is the content justification is going to be space between, because we want all our elements to be like equally spread on and still be centered, because as we can see here, the dimensions of, if we look at these elements, so we're going to have a bar, and then we're going to have a step, and then a bar, and then a step, and then a bar. But since they have different heights, it's important that we align them to be centered, because if we don't, we see that the behavior is quite different. And the same thing goes for just anything. Whenever you work with Flexbox, that's a good rule of thumb. If you want to align something, say in center, in relation to something else that has a say a greater height, it's important to remember to use align items. Otherwise, as you see, it's not that great. Anywho, so the bar element is simply going to be this little, it's basically just a bar that has a height of 8 pixels and a background that is gray. And in order to get the effect that it kind of fills in like that, I use the before element. And basically the way that I do that is that the before element is just, as you can see here, it's just positioned to be like on top of the bar itself. So if I remove the background, it's not even there. And when I run this animation, which is just going to be like the grow animation, we'll actually look at that. So all it's going to do is that it's going to take the transform property and scale x, in other words, the growth, the scale of on the x-axis for the element, it's going to start at 0, which means that the element is going to be completely invisible, and then it's going to go to 1, which means that it's going to expand all the way to its full width on the x-axis, or the dimensions on the x-axis. And then I set the transform origin to bottom left, so that the animation runs from the bottom to bottom left of the end when the animation plays through. And basically, if I do this without the animation, since it's basically we're running this grow over 0.5 seconds, and then basically we simply do it's going to be linear, and it's going to go forwards, which means that it's going to, the animation isn't going to repeat or anything like that. It's just going to grow, and then it's going to stop. And so I click it, and now it fills in. So in order to get this effect where one line grows and then the step fills in, we have to actually, or rather the way that I do it is that I have a fill animation that is going to be applied on each step. So basically I just look at the steps, and then I add like a 0.5 second increment to whenever that animation is going to run. So if we have a look at this, we can see here that, all right, so the step starts as a gray thing, and basically we have some basic styling to make it a circle, like border radius, and then we set the line height to 44 pixels so that the number inside is actually in the center, and height and width, all that good stuff. And with the animation now, without the fill, that's how it looks. And then I simply click it, and it's going to fill itself in. And as you notice here, that the animation runs over 0.5 seconds, but there's also this other this delay, because I need to wait 1 second for the bar to be finished animating. So that's basically what happens. So that first animation runs, and this animation is already, it's not waiting for this first animation, it's simply delayed by 1 second, and then it's going to do its thing, and then the same thing is applied for the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. So that's basically how it works. Now you can make this a much nicer implementation where like the second element knows how long the duration of the first element is going to be, like the animation time, and then you can cascade that backwards. But I just wanted to make something simple to kind of illustrate how you could do the step wizard. And that's the basics of how you would make a progression or a step indicator. Have a great day.